Hey guys, thanks for joining me for this art activity. I'm going to show you a few little things with how to use charcoal and how to incorporate chalk pastels to bring some color to your charcoal drawings if you so choose. I like to add a little bit of color to charcoal pictures. It's fun, and I've just recently started getting into charcoal in the last couple of years. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty messy, so I'm going to give you a few pointers so that you can keep your work paper or your workspace neater without getting smudges on it, because the charcoal has a tendency to get all over the place, all over your hands and all over everything. But that's the beauty of art anyway. I love that. And you can always start over, or you can turn your messy blob or smeary thing into something else. Maybe it turns out to be a different type of a masterpiece. Okay, so I am going to supply you. There are going to be some art kits available for this. Hopefully you already picked them up. And in it, I'm going to have a couple of pieces of charcoal. They're going to look like this. They're little kind of little sticks. And I'm going to give you, an array, as best as I can, an array of colors of chalk pastels so that you can make some pictures with using both chalk and charcoal. So I'm just going to give you some of the supplies that I have already at the Boys and Girls Club. Okay, so you're also going to need a few paintbrushes. Yes, paintbrushes that are going to have to be dry, because if you use wet ones, it's going to turn into a wet, messy mess. And it's doable. You can do that, but today's project is dry. So I have a bunch of different paintbrushes. I like to use kind of some fluffy ones, so maybe you have floating around, or maybe down in, if you have like a workbench or something, and your parents have like some painting supplies and they might have some big paintbrushes, and that works fine too. Some old dry ones. Make sure you ask first before using them, but you can use small ones too that come in water color palettes if you want. So you're going to need some paintbrushes, because those you're going to need for blending and spreading out the colors or the charcoal. And any kind of eraser. If you don't have a block eraser like this, you can just use an eraser on a pencil. And today I like to use like the little plastic clicky pencils, as I call them, but you can use a regular pencil if you would like to. But the erasers on the back of these work fine too. Okay, and then there are some other tools for charcoal that you can use, but you don't really need anything fancy. You can use your fingers. So speaking of fingers, what I like to do is I make like a little tiny bowl. You can't really see it, but I put a paper towel or a tissue, or well, paper towel, tissue kind of would dissolve, and I put water on it. So it's almost kind of like a finger bowl of water. And what I do is I dab my fingers in it, and I have some dry paper towels, or you can use a towel, and to dry your fingers off and to get some of the color or the charcoal when you're switching colors or switching mediums, and so that when you're handling your paper, you don't get fingerprints on your picture that you're creating. And then you can just put your towel to the side, but make sure your hands are dry really well before moving on or switching to your next thing, because it will definitely change your whole picture. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a few samples of what we've done at the Boys and Girls Club before. We've done charcoal before, and we did owl faces or owl eyes. And I don't remember, nobody had their name on this one, but I'm sure if you're watching and it was yours, you'll be a me, it's mine. And we did this in Fine Arts Club. So you can email me and claim it, but it's safe, don't worry. I have it at my home and I'm enjoying it. But this one, you can see, has a combination of the charcoal, which is the black, and then the pops of color for the eyes. Okay, so this is just one example of what you can make using the charcoal and using the pastel, the chalk pastels. And then here's another one. This is another one with big eyes, owl eyes. Okay, so as you can see, you could make the chalk pastel and the charcoal very wispy and light and airy, and you can make it very dark on your paper too. So you can make fine details, and then you can also make nice shadowy details to give it depth and dimension. Okay, so this one has some bright eyes to it with the pop of color. So we might work on this a little bit today, but I'm just going to show you first. We're going to just do a quick little tutorial, and I'm going to bend the computer screen down a little bit so that you can see my paper rather than my face all the time. You can listen to my voice. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start. I'm going to give you guys all a couple of pieces of good paper inside your kit that will be outside the Boys and Girls Club, the art kits for this. And there might be other surprises in the art kits too, so you can look for those little extra surprises. All right, so if you like to make your picture first using pencil, by all means, you can sketch out. But remember, don't press hard with your pencil because you want to make it a charcoal or pastel project, chalk pastel project. You don't want to make it a pencil sketching project. Okay, so you can lightly use your pencil, but I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to grab a piece of my charcoal, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make kind of a sun popping out of the bottom corner of my paper. So as you can see, I kind of made a circle, like a portion of a circle, like as what a sun might look like. Now remember, you don't have to press hard because I'm going to show you some blending techniques. Okay, so I didn't press too hard, but the charcoal is fairly dark, but I'm going to show you what can happen after I make the rays of the sunshine. Okay, so I'm just going to add some straight lines coming out of this circle as kind of like the traditional sunshine that you see. All right, if you want to go over the lines, you can. All right, so I'm using a mixed media or multimedia type paper, which is, a high quality paper, which I will provide you with in your kits. And I do have special charcoal paper that you will be getting, which is this size, and it's grayish, but I will give you some white mixed media or multimedia paper as well in your thing, so that you can do big drawings. Okay, so I have a little bit of stuff on my fingers, but I'm going to just rub it in this time. I'm not going to use my finger bowl there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with one of my dry paint brushes, and I'm just going to brush over the lines, and it is going to make some wispy lines or black lines on your paper. But that is the beauty of this particular thing. It's not like coloring in a coloring book, where you're coloring in between the lines. This is a drawing or sketch that you are doing, and we're going to make it shadowy, have a shadow effect to it, and so the lines are not quite as sharp or dark or, deliberate. Okay, and so your paintbrush is going to have some of that stuff on it. So if you want, you can always dab it on the paper. Yes, and that's another thing. Make sure your workspace is covered either with newspaper or some kind of scrap paper, or a paper bag or something like that. Okay, so as you see, you can kind of see how wispy and shadowy some of the lines have gotten. Okay, now what else you can do is, if you're not satisfied with some of the lines, you can always take your eraser. Now it doesn't really necessarily erase But you can erase some of the lines if you want, or you can make some stripes in your lines. Like I did some stripes, as you can see over here. Okay, but then you can go back over it with either more charcoal, or you can just play with those lines with the paintbrush and use all the different paint brushes. Okay, so I'm just showing you some different things of what you can do. Okay, you can make the lines lighter. The eraser, whatever's left on this eraser, you can kind of spread on your paper too. And I know you guys are probably looking forward to the next part of this. All right, so I'm going to kind of just leave those stripes that I have on it. Oops, I'm going to add some to this one over here. And then I just go over with my paintbrush over and over again, and you can draw lines. I don't know if you can see, I kind of made stripes, even though that's not like a traditional type sun, but it's art, and whatever your vision is your vision. All right, so if you want to add some more shadowing to it, you can always just add some more lines on here, and you can add lines in between with the charcoal. And then I know you guys are excited, and you're probably going to want to add some lines, colorful lines. All right, so I added some more into my actual sun blob over here and more lines in here. But I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to spread it around some more. And make lots and lots of lines. You can also take your charcoal and do it sideways. So lay it down lengthwise and do some long lines, and it makes like a different type texture depending on the paper you use. This paper has a lot of ridges and pores in it, so it has like a really cool effect. So now I've added in some more, and then I'm just gonna do my paintbrush again. Then if you're getting tired of your paintbrush and you feel like it's not doing what you want it to do, fingers, then you can start smearing it around with your fingers, and then you can press harder with it, and you can press in everything. I feel like fingers really can control where the depth of your drawing can go. Okay, so now it just kind of looks like a shadowy type thing. We've got lots of lines on here. All right, so now I'm going to add some color to this, but I'm going to take my fingers, I'm going to put them in my little finger bowl here, and then I'm going to wipe it off. Okay, so I'm going to do some colors here. I'm going to do some orange, and I'm just going to add some streaks. I'm not going to color in my whole sun because I like to kind of blend up my colors. And we're going to do the same thing with our sun. Okay, and I'm going to take another color. I'm going to do a yellow and add that in. Some traditional sun colors. You don't have to be traditional if you don't want to. Okay, then I'm going to take my finger, make sure your finger's clean, and I'm going to rub in those orange and yellow streaks that I put in. Then I can use my paintbrush again if I want, and then I can add some more black charcoal to it. Give it some really cool effect. And then what I might do is I might put like a dark outline on the outer edge of my sunshine. And really, I can press a little bit harder. You don't want to press too hard, because remember what I said, it's not really a coloring book per se. Chalk pastels are kind of more like lighter. So that now I have more of a colorful light effect in there. And you can add crazy colors if you want to in there. And then you can keep adding and subtracting, and then you can use your eraser and you can add some stripes or lines in there, or like erasing things. If you press really hard, it can make some of the paper shine through again, as you can see. and then smear it. Okay, and I'm going to add some other colors on the top. I'm always going to wipe my fingers if I don't want to have fingerprints of colors that I don't want. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably take a different color. I have a nice palette of colors here. So I'm going to add some the color to, not too much, because I don't want to take away from the charcoal that we use, because the main objective is a combination of both. I'm going to use my fingers again. I like using fingers. Ooh, this color's nice. And you can blend it and sweep up your color, so you can, like, if you like to make more circular motions, you don't have to always do straight lines. I'm a more circular person, but it's just happened to be that we're making straight lines. So I'm just adding some more. And you can add, you can subtract. I'm going to do, let's see, maybe a different color. Maybe do like a deep burnt orangey red on some of the smaller rays. Ooh, this is a very like red. This is almost like a sunset sun that I'm making here. And you can add some more charcoal in there, which I'm going to do onto those lines that I just made with the red in between. I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to brush it first. Then I'm going to use my fingers to blend it. Okay. So you get the idea of how to kind of play with the colors and the tools that you're going to use, whether it's paintbrush, eraser. You can use a tissue. You can use other creative ways to spread out your colors too if you want. All right, so that's finished right there. So now what we can do is I'm going to quick do the little owl eyes for you, and you're just going to make the circles in the middle of your paper. Get some more paper here. If you need to make use something like a circle and trace around it, you can do that, or you can just try to eyeball it as best as you can. All right, so I'm going to quickly just do some big round eyes in the middle of my paper. Okay, so I made two big circles, and then like we did with that sun, you're just going to kind of play with the colors and the texture. I'm just going to make my design here, my owl nose, because I gotta make owl eyes. Then the inner circle, the inner ring of the owl eyes, like so. And then obviously the big pupil, because the owls have the big giant pupils in the middle. Okay, and then you're just going to go from there, and you can make your wispy feathers that come out between the eyes of the owl, and then you're going to start adding your colors and your paintbrush and start blending it. I'll try to start doing it, making it wispy, because the feathers in between the face of the owl are very wispy. And like I said, you can use your fingers, and it's okay if some of the dark gets on the white part of the paper, because you have your chalk pastels to add the color to it. All right, so have fun with this. Send me your pictures when you're finished, and enjoy, because it's endless. And you can look up things online of things to sketch and draw and use your charcoal utensils with, and have fun. All right, see you again soon, and thanks for joining me for charcoal and pastel chalks. All right, bye.